season ends. Because if you didn't see, Cam Thomas signed a 1 year, $6 million qualifier to, well, obviously, I guess, stay with the Brooklyn Nets. But that's because he was a restricted free agent and the Nets, and Cam Thomas couldn't come to a deal. I believe they offered him a 2 year, $30 million deal, which he rejected, obviously. I believe that's what the offer was that was reported. Obviously, that offer doesn't reflect what Cam Thomas thinks he, should be getting. I believe that similar to Jonathan Kuminga and Josh Giddey and Quentin Grimes, pretty much all four of them are, I believe, looking for like that $30 million per year mark. So obviously the 2 year for $30 million doesn't equate to that. And also, I believe that offer, I feel like I read it had something about like it didn't have any incentives in it and that it had a team option in the second year, I believe. And obviously that gives away his no trade clause. There's like something with the restricted free agent where, they have a kind of built-in no trade clause. So signing that deal for Cam Thomas isn't necessarily super beneficial to him, especially if the money, 2 year $30 million that was offered isn't even, close in his mind to what he deserves, right? I'm not saying what he does or doesn't deserve. I'm just saying so that's kind of how, it got to where it is. Now, if you watch this page, I've been saying since day one, when free agency, start to open up, and the issue, I guess, if you want to say, was that the 4 restricted free agents were, not necessarily seeing eye to eye with what, their front offices wanted to offer them, whatever. And if you watch this page, the first time I talked about it, every single time I talked about it, I've consistently said, I believe Cam Thomas, when it gets to that point, which is now, I believe Cam Thomas will bet on himself and take the qualifying offer. That is what I said since day one. You can go back and watch. I'm like, Cam Thomas is the type of guy, to bet on himself. And he, again, obviously believes he's worth more money than what they were offering him. So I am not surprised in any way, shape, or form. This is literally exactly how I saw it playing out. And it's not necessarily that the Nets, are doing anything wrong per se, because they just drafted 5 guys in the first round, right? So they have a lot of up and coming talent, on top of players that they have drafted, last year and stuff like that. And so, as crazy as it is to say, because Cam Thomas is only like, 23, 24, and Cam Thomas, regardless of what you think of him, easy 30 points for him. 30 points for him is really easy. So we know he can score with the best of them, right? Very talented. But the Nets, apparently, they haven't said this, but maybe they don't really view him as their centerpiece of their future. And again, it's not necessarily wrong because the Nets have so many young, up and coming talent and new guys. So will they be wrong in the end that they didn't, build around Cam Thomas? That remains to be seen. We'll see how Cam Thomas's career plays out. But I can understand from the Nets' perspective because, again, 5 guys just in this draft. So, they have so many options and, potential opportunities for someone to turn into that superstar for them. And, because Cam Thomas hasn't turned into a superstar yet for them, and, whatever else they think. Um, Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's kind of, I feel like their mentality is like, we have 6, 7, 8 guys that could turn into a superstar who, in their mind, maybe believe that it has more potential than Cam Thomas. I don't know. So, um, I can understand the Nets' perspective, and I understand Cam Thomas's perspective because, again, Cam Thomas, 30, easy. And that's not all there is to the NBA, of course. It's not just about scoring, but like, I do think if he was, in a different situation, different opportunity, like, different teams, scenario, situations kind of change how the trajectory of your career goes sometimes. And also, you know, um, might change who you are as a player for the better. Different coach, different coaching style, different teammates, everything changes. Again, I always like to reference Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen was, I don't remember what pick he was in the draft, but he was a first round pick. And when he was in Chicago, especially his rookie year, he had a really good rookie year. And, the sky was the limit for him, right? Like the upside, the potential, everyone was like, ooh, Lauri Markkanen, right? And then his second year wasn't, as good as his first year. And then eventually he got moved to the Cavs, where I feel like he had a really good year when he was on the Cavs, honestly. But it wasn't, an all-star, role or anything like that. Like he wasn't, their top scorer or nothing like that. But I felt like Lauri Markkanen did some good things on the Cavs. So then he goes to the Jazz, and then it's an all-star. You know what I'm saying? So like, different scenery, different situation can change things for players. That's just, how it goes. So for Cam Thomas, I don't know that the Nets are necessarily, the best place for him anymore because again, they're bringing in so many new young talented players. And Cam Thomas, again, is still really young himself. But like when they drafted Cam Thomas, there was kind of, I don't know if there was belief, amongst the entire NBA, but like it was kind of like, oh, Cam Thomas could be that guy for them, right? And the fact that they're, just, based on how I view it, that they're bringing in so many more, younger guys says to me that they don't, whether this is true or not, I don't know, but like it just like signals to me that they don't necessarily see Cam Thomas as their at least like number one option for the future. I'm sure they would love to have him on the team, as a talented player, but like Cam Thomas obviously views himself, as a number one, number two, whatever it is. And so Cam Thomas obviously wants to win as well. Like nobody in the NBA wants to lose, right? And the Nets are rebuilding, completely rebuilding. Like it's not even close, right? So, this could be best for both parties. The Nets move on from Cam Thomas when the season is over, and get to develop some of these younger guys that they're, drafting. And then Cam Thomas gets to pick whatever team he wants to go to because he'll be an unrestricted free agent. And I don't know. It depends on how the season plays out. That's, that is definitely something to consider as well, is what kind of role is he going to have on the Nets? Because getting a large contract is kind of determined by how you play. And if he's not getting like, 35, 30 minutes a game, I'm not saying he's not going to, but like, if he is not one of the featured players, yes, other teams know he's talented, of course, but like, what kind of contract is going to be in the cards for him if, he doesn't get to put up the statistics that he believes he's capable of? So that's a whole nother thing. Um, but Cam Thomas, I think, will be on another team next year. Somebody said, I will have to say you do study your craft. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Like I always say, I always try to know everything I can. I just try to know everything I can about the NBA, and I love it. So it's fun for me. So yeah, so I personally believe Cam Thomas will be on another team next year. I don't see him staying on the Nets. So thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I hope you enjoyed, and see you soon.